pressure low. It'll be grand.
Cowabungas, my dudes! Welcome back to Sure It'll Be Grand, a show about two Irish Egypts who give their two Egypt opinions on movies we watch. My name's Daniel. This is Owen. Say hello, Owen.
What's up, dudes?
And today we're talking about the 1990 movie of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A classic, which will make people feel old because I was born in 1990.
I was not yet born when this came out.
Didn't exist, no?
I did not exist, no.
Yeah. And weren't you happier with that while this was in the world?
Not existing?
Yes.
Yeah, not existing was great, to be honest.
Pretty tight, yeah. Anyway, before we get into it, how are you on? Have you been up to anything? Any projects?
I'm grand. I'm doing okay. It's a Sunday as we're recording this, and I've spent my morning watching a new super shitty TV show on Netflix.
Okay, go on. Tell us the name.
It's called Fate: The Winx Saga. It's
Is
based.
that
It's
anime?
it's based on the Winx Club cartoons on Nickelodeon. That's about
Oh, right.
a
Okay,
secret
yeah.
school for fairies.
Okay, fair enough.
It's right up my street.
And you've been watching it all day, have you?
No, I mean, I've taken my time with it because there's only 6 episodes. So I watched a couple yesterday and I watched a couple this morning. And I have an episode and a half left, I think, maybe. Something along those lines.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll be sure to avoid that,
Yeah.
as I imagine I wouldn't be too mad into it.
No, probably not.
Yeah, let's go into who was involved in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Director is Steve Barron, and you, while we were watching this movie, and obviously you were so entranced by the movie itself, you were searching things on the side about
I
it.
spent much of the runtime looking up interesting things about the movie to keep my attention. Yes, he's an Irishman. Well, born in Dublin, raised in London.
He's Irish-British, he calls himself, because he grew up in London, I believe.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
what I
born in
said, yeah.
Dublin, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Grand.
Yeah, there you go. Interesting. I never knew.
And he's done some interesting things. For example, he has done Coneheads, which is a bit of a cult classic. He's also weirdly done Supersized.
I don't know what that is.
The McDonald's thing.
Super
Remember the
Size
guy
Me?
who just ate? I think it's surely that's it. Yeah. No, it's not. This is from 2019. Sorry, I'm wrong, folks. It's some weird superhero movie of older people.
Yeah,
Which I mean,
Super
fair
Size
play.
Me is the Michael Moore fast food documentary.
He also did The Adventures of Pocahontas. Oh, no, Pinocchio. Jesus Christ, folks, what's wrong with me today?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah. So otherwise, he hasn't really done anything massively. But anyway, writers. There's a whole bunch of writers. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird. They're also characters in the movie itself. And then we have some big star, and not big stars. We have stars. We have some stars that become big stars. Who was your favorite? One of those, Owen. You were waiting for him to show up.
We only had one, really. He's the only one.
Yeah, really only one. Yeah.
I mean, Skeet Ulrich has a brief appearance. He's in Riverdale now, so that was cool. But Sam Rockwell shows up.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell's in this
briefly. He has
and he plays his
2 scenes.
typical character where he's, a bit of a prick.
A lovable scumbag. Was just waiting for him to say something racist.
Yeah.
Not Sam Rockwell, his character.
Yeah, his character.
His characters,
exactly.
all right? He's had a patch there where he played just piece of shit racist people, but the movie wanted you to think he was a nice guy or whatever.
Yeah, and in the cast wise, interesting thing to note, the 3 of the turtles have 2 actors involved, with one being the physical actor and one doing the voice acting, except for one who is Josh Pays, who played Raphael, who both did the physical part and the voice acting part, and had claustrophobia. Imagine wearing those big rubbery suits with a helmet on, acting, physically performing, but then being terrified in an enclosed space.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough scary shit in this movie without that being added. The turtle costumes are scary enough as is, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you think they look ugly.
They're hideous.
He was saying that.
They're like most of Jim Henson's creations. They're not nice to look at.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is when we get cancelled, eh? Anyway, yes, that's it. I suppose we should now get into the movie itself.
Well, do you want to name the rest of the cast?
I mean, I would, but there's not many great. There's Judith Hogue, who plays April O'Neil, Elias Koteas, who plays Casey Jones, who I definitely thought was the guy from Law and Order for 3/4 of the movie, even to the point where you said, no, Dan, and someone else. I went, he still looks exactly like him.
He does look like him, yeah.
Yeah. Josh Pate, as we said. David Foreman plays Leonardo. Brian Tochi plays Leonardo as well. I'm just trying to think.
Corey Feldman plays Donatello. He was the biggest name involved in the cast. Robbie Rist is Michelangelo. Kevin Clash is Splinter.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of others. And just to name them, because their job was just as important, the Puppeteers.
Yes, the 3 puppets for Splinter.
Leonardo, Martin P. Robinson, and David Foreman. Donatello, David Rudman, Leif Tilden, and Ernie Reyes Jr. Raphael, David Greenway, Josh Pace, of course, and Ken Troom. Michelangelo, played by Mark Wilson, and Michelin Sisti, and Splinter was operated and performed by Kevin Clash, Ricky Boyd, and Robert Tigner. So kudos to those guys.
Yes.
All had
very kudos.
The in-suit guys all had cameos in the movie.
They did, yeah. I believe Josh Pace was in a cab or something.
I think he's the guy.
And a few of the people were in. Yeah, some people are gang members and foot messengers and all that kind of stuff. And I think at the earliest one is the pizza guy who delivers Donnie's pizza is weirdly
talking to himself, sort of.
Well, no, I think Donnie is Michelangelo who's actually getting the pizza or something.
Yeah, and
he plays Michelangelo, the pizza man. Yeah, and it's to Donnie. Yeah.
Was it?
I think. Oh no, it's not. It's to Mikey. Because Mikey was like, "I'm gonna get $3 off."
Yeah.
Here's a weird fact about the movie. So the movie was massively sponsored by Pizza Hut, like when it was coming up material. But for that pizza being delivered, it was Domino's because Pizza Hut at the time didn't deliver pizza. Yeah, which is an odd one, spending so much money, like being involved, and then like
worked for them.
And then we give it to the opposition. There we go.
It worked for them. All right,
it did.
I shall play the sting now.
Okay, very good.
I mean, what the hell is going on?
So, New York is ravaged by crime. Politicians are trying to tell. Okay,
but tell us about the movie.
1990. New York is ravaged with crime. It was at the time, there was actually an epidemic of crimes going on in real life, I believe, as well. It wasn't a good time to be in New York, but it's kind of sweeping the city, and no one knows who is stealing these things. Until we, as viewers, start seeing some scenes that it's kids, it's teenagers, young adults who are running around robbing televisions.
Yeah, the crime in question is theft and robbery, by the way.
Theft and robbery, yeah.
There's not it's not a murderer type situation.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of hoodlums.
Maybe they should have.
It's a bunch of hoodlums stealing stereos and selling them to ninjas.
Yeah. Not even selling to ninjas because they work for the ninjas.
Just giving them to ninjas,
Yeah, the Foot Clan, yeah. And, they're building up, I guess, a crime syndicate. They're trying to sell the stuff. I mean, it never really goes into why they're robbing all this stuff, but,
It never explains it. And honestly, part of me thinks that the kids stealing the stereos and stuff was unrelated to the Foot Clan stuff. That these kids were in a gang themselves, and then Shredder came in and just took over them.
Yeah.
Because
the
kids kind of, you see their little hideout, and they've got all fucking fancy stereos and hockey tables and arcade games and stuff. I think they were just stealing stereos for the crack or something. And then Shredder came along and was like, "You are ninjas now. You work for me."
Do you think that's it? Because I think he hired them all, because that's the whole point of it, that he pointed at kids who didn't have maybe the best family life at home.
Yeah, and he found them.
Part of my family.
He found them all readily available in a disused warehouse down by the river.
That was there. I think the Foot Clan owned that place. Like, that's the whole point. That's why we saw Foot Clan members all around as well. Like,
no, I'm not saying they weren't there together, but I'm saying the kids were together beforehand. That's why Sam Rockwell is like the kid leader.
Okay, right. What makes you think that?
Just nothing about the Foot Clan, a secret ancient society of ninjas stealing stereos and CD players, makes sense. So,
but did you not hear about the ancient myths that only Japanese Americans knew about of the Foot Clan?
I mean, yeah, I guess it was as somebody remarked, this is very reminiscent of the Foot Clan in ancient Japan. Huh? What are you talking about, buddy?
All the Japanese American people are talking about. It's like, oh, what happened? Oh, they stole stereo. Oh, it is just like the ancient stories. Japan was just ahead for its time. Like, even back then in ancient Japanese times had like stereos. Do we know it's an ancient story of Japan? Do we just think it's ancient because it had ninjas involved? And we assume ninjas are quite a bit old.
If it was an ancient story and ninjas were involved, but
maybe it's just modern day. Maybe it was like it happened 10 years ago. And that's why, like, when I was back in Japan, like, this happened all the time. Oh, that's weird. So that happens. We see April O'Neil, and she's trying to crack this case. I'm not sure what kind of journalist she is, because she's on the television, but she's also like at the scenes trying to find out what happened, asking police cops, hey, what's the big idea, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, she's an investigative reporter.
But she's also on the TV, like she's in the actual room.
Yeah.
At the beginning, like, she's both then, okay? She's like works at the news company in front of the camera, but she also is outside investigating.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. We get a little homage where she wears a big yellow rain jacket, which is the yellow jumpsuit she wore in the cartoons. One of the few things that kind of survived into this movie. Apparently, the director and all that, they weren't really up for the idea of having a lot of the cartoon stuff be in this movie, which is weird because you'd think they'd try to bank on that, surely. But eventually, she's walking home and she gets attacked by a couple of teenagers, and the turtles jump out of nowhere and defend her, and then end up back in the sewers. And we see the turtles, they kind of go home back into the sewers, and Splinter's like saying, okay, let's meditate and let's understand what happened in this battle. And for some reason, the turtles start dancing.
Yeah, because they're the turtles. That's what they do.
Yeah, and they eventually went, hey, we ordered a pizza, and they go off to get pizza, and they cut a hole through the grate, and a piece gets shoved through the grate. Imagine being a pizza delivery guy, and you get the directions, say, go to the corner of 45th and 46th.
He gets
just go to the grate and shove the pizza down there.
I think because the address that Michelangelo gives him, that the pizza guy reads out, is like such and such street, like, and then like the number that he gets is like 180 and an eighth or something like that. So he stops in front of like building number 180, and he's like, 180 and an eighth, where the hell is that? I think that's where J.K. Rowling got the idea for Platform 9 3/4 from.
I mean, she is historically and famously known for being a massive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan.
It's one of
It's the only thing she tweets about and nothing else.
We know this about her. She is like amorphous humanoid Ninja Turtles. Fine. Trans people, no. That's all we know about J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and look, they get the pizza. There's a little quip. Like, I'll get to the quip in a second, but eventually, her and the turtles meet up again, and she's just like, "Hey, I got pizza. If you want to, like, come in and like sit down." And Mikey, I think, makes a joke like, "Oh, as long as you have like larvae and like insect bugs to put onto it, or something along the lines of that."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what do you mean? No, I was like, I'm only kidding. But like, if you watch like the cartoon, like, that was the thing. They didn't put like insects on, but like they were famous for putting like random shit on the piece, like marshmallows and like I don't know, pickled herring or stuff like that. So I thought it was like they seem to have dunked on the cartoon quite a bit throughout all this. But yeah, so the movie kind of goes on, and they start trying to introduce more characters like Casey Jones, Raph, and him. I say Raph like I'm a fucking big deep team MT fan.
I mean, they call him Raph. Leo calls him Raph all the time.
Yeah,
Raph, Donnie, Mikey, and Leo. It's fine.
Yeah. They bump into each other, and Casey Jones and Raphael have a bit of a tussle around.
Yeah, Raphael
they're measuring up against each other.
Raphael is wearing like a pedo trench coat, and Casey Jones looks like a 43-year-old man who works at a shooting range.
Yeah, pretty much. We never really get so he stops some crimes from some teenagers, but do we ever have an explanation of why he does this?
No, none. There is no explanation offered as to anything Casey Jones does in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a very brief thing that I think I was half paying attention for, where I think he mentions that he tells April he used to be a professional baseball player or something. Then he got injured. He can't do it
for 6 months. Or something.
Then he's like, and presumably he got injured, so now he just beats people up with sports equipment.
And like in the cartoons, I think he only ever used hockey sticks. Like that was his whole thing, was he wore a hockey mask. And
he had a hockey stick. That was his big thing.
Yeah. Whereas this, he goes for a whole selection of them. Like he has a baseball bat, like Raph mentions it. He uses a cricket bat.
Yeah.
Just like he just walks around with a collection of
a golf club at one stage that he
golf
picks
club.
Up.
Yeah. Again, there's no real point for them like bumping together. It's just to introduce Casey, and Casey runs off, and Raph is really upset. You have this whole Raphael and Splinter scene where Raphael is apparently like suppresses his anger the whole time, and there's this whole emotional scene that Splinter's like, no, you might have to go through this alone, but don't forget your brothers and I are here. And we it's kind of the building of that. Splinter's more than just a master to them; he's a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's very much a theme later on in the movie as well. So.
I'm happy to sit here in silence until you figure it out, to be honest.
It's just like I'm sorry, folks, but like this movie melts. Like we watched this 3 days ago.
Yep.
And like bar for the quips and a lot of acrobatics, even not aerobatics. Aerobatics.
The aromatics.
Like this, I don't really remember much of this movie because I don't think a lot of it was tied together.
Subplot. Weird little ginger kid is a gang member. His dad works with April O'Neil.
He's April O'Neil's boss, even.
Yeah,
because
he's the big new made up character for the movie. His name is Daniel, and he's a punk ass kid who steals things, and he's the member of Sam Rockwell's / the Foot Clan gang sort of thing.
Yeah. It's actually also how April gets fired from her job. I think the police cop gets a call from the ninjas or something and decides to call his dad. Says, "Oh, are you the father of such and such?" Like Daniel. And, we're kind of getting the impression that there's definitely some suppression of the law and information because they don't want April to reveal stuff about the Foot Clan. So apparently this whole group that's been stealing stereos and televisions and selling it has some major control over the police and politicians.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, that's part of the plot. See, now you laugh. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We eventually get the big man in his house, Buckethead, showing up.
Yeah, wearing wearing like a cheap Prince costume he's sewed some razor blades onto.
Yeah. Shredder kind of, visits them, and he does this whole like, I am proud to, I'm not going to do the racist voice. I am proud to make this young lad that he found on the street into one of the Foot Clan. And he hopes that everyone here will become that too because he's a father figure. And it's a whole mirror thing of like, he's the father figure of all these criminal kids, where Splinter is the father figure of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we're kind of establishing clans there. Like the TMNT have their own clan versus this clan. It's this whole sort of retelling of Japanese samurai clan houses and the feuds they have between each other and all this kind of stuff. He works on their emotions. He talks about like, I am your father here, and I'm so proud of everyone here. It's meant to like he's basically stepping in as a father figure, and that's the whole thing with Danny. Danny thinks like his father doesn't care about him, and he hates him and all this kind of stuff. And Danny, I think Shredder goes and says that he has information about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and April O'Neil, and because he puts his hand up at the end of the meeting, and they, he kind of basically gets April O'Neil in danger. The Foot Clan attack her house. They have to escape. I believe for some reason Casey Jones shows up again. He knocks a few ninjas around.
Don't know why he's there or why he was going to the antique store that April O'Neil lives above. That has a secret passage in the walls.
She owns
she's rich.
Yeah,
we guess. She owns a farmhouse in upstate New York somewhere as well. So
like eventually, TMT, the Turtles take her and Casey into the lair, and they discover that. I think this is early on. They discover that Splinter has been abducted. I think that's why they actually went to April in the first place. That their father is gone, and they're trying to figure out. And then eventually they have to basically escape New York, or at least New York City, and they end up in a farm, in a van.
They leave New York because Raphael is like in a coma. He got the crap beaten up. He got like mobbed by the Foot Clan while he was on his own before they attacked the antique store. So they take him to April's fancy farmhouse to heal and stuff.
Again, she owns this place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like her family home.
By the way, it's like her family home. Like, and it's a moment of reflection. We get a few gags with Casey, and I think it was not Mikey. I think it was Donatello fixing a car or something like that.
Yeah.
We also see Leonardo sort of meditating, trying to like find the center and all this kind of stuff. And he gets a snippet of Splinter trying to reach him through, I guess, the ether, like through, ninja magic.
Force Ghost.
Yeah. And eventually Raph gets out of the bath, and we should have said like Raph and Leonardo had a bit of a spit fight. That's why that's why Raphael was away from the group, and that's how he got injured and got into the coma in the first place.
That's what Raph and Leo do.
Yeah, they don't get on with each other and angry, but they're brothers. Yay.
Yeah, that happens every episode, I think.
Yeah. And like I remember we were looking at the turtles like in the countryside, and I was thinking like saying to Owen at the time, like imagine like you were going for a walk in the country and you just turned a corner and you just saw a giant turtle just meditating underneath a tree.
You just leave.
As a ninja.
Just back away slowly. Don't ask any questions.
You wouldn't even think about it anymore. You just like, that was sad. And once in a while, maybe 10 years later, you remember it. What? No. Suppress it. That didn't happen. No. Yeah. But then a second scene happens, and which changed Owen's opinion, where we see the 4 turtles meditating around a fire in the middle of the night, and then have Splinter appear as a Jedi Force ghost above the fire. And I was like, what about now, Owen?
At that point, you can't ignore it anymore. All right.
Yeah.
What you're seeing is real, and you can't suppress it anymore. So you have to just walk into that clearing and sit down with them and say, "What's up, guys?
Yeah,
you're giant turtles talking to a rat made of flames."
And then they say, "Oh, we're from New York," and you go,
That explains it. You're from Brooklyn, right?
Sorry,
you're Brooklyn guys. Yeah, I get it. Okay, that's fair.
Sorry, I'll just get up. Sorry about that.
I just leave. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and we see Splinter, and he talks about how, this is goodbye from me, I'm gonna suffer, and we kind of Splinter talks to Danny at some stage in the movie where we get the backstory where Splinter was the pet of a ninja called Yoshi something. I know there's like there could be TMNT fans going like, the fucking assholes.
Hamato Yoshi.
That's it. Yeah, and we get these scenes of this very puppetry rat in a cage imitating ninjutsu from perceiving his master. And we get to find out that Shredder was in love with the same woman that Yoshi was with, and they decided to eventually escape to New York City, where Splinter catches up with them, kills the woman he loves, and then kills Yoshi. And Splinter, being a ninja normal rat, jumps at him and gives him 3 massive scratches on the face, which I assume is why the Shredder wears a full helmet now, to hide the scars.
We guess so. It's not really certain where the Shredder identity came from.
Yeah,
to be honest, but you'd imagine that's why he wears a face covering.
Yeah, exactly. And we then find out, we kind of find out before that Splinter found the turtles in some goo chemicals, and they all kind of mutated. Splinter got more intelligent and bigger and stronger, as did the turtles. And that's the origin of Splinter and how he became a master of the turtles, which, again, it's different to the cartoon, because in the cartoon, we know he was a human who was turned into a rat. So he was a ninja before, and he got turned into a rat. But yeah, so like Splinter's basically saying, look, I'm outie. He talks to Danny, and he says, all fathers care about their sons, because, again, it's him saying, oh, I am the turtles' dads. That's just the entire theme of the movie. It's just like daddy issues. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's Teenage Mutant Daddy Issues. Come on.
Teenage Mutant Daddy Issues.
There you go. Yeah, it was right. It was right there in front of you.
Teenage. Okay, I know. The movie goes on, and eventually, I believe the turtles find out where Shredder is. Casey, April, and Danny all work. Yeah, I guess Danny told them. Working away to save.
Casey followed
Splinter.
Daniel to their hideout.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because that's relevant.
Well, that's how. That's how they find out.
Yeah.
Casey gets beaten up by one of the Foot Clan, like Shredder's second in command guy, who doesn't speak. He just makes like noises.
He doesn't even do ninja attacks either. He just punches.
And then Casey hits him in the head with a golf club.
Yeah.
And that's where Sam Rockwell has his scene.
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah. Anyway, so it Splinter gets freed, and Shredder and the turtles end up at the top of a building. How they got there, again, I seem to not remember. I remember from movies usually, especially if it's only been 2 days. But apparently my brain went, look, you can zone out here. It's not important. Look at Owen. He's already looking at Google stuff about this movie. He's not paying attention either.
I remember the turtles returned to New York, and they were fighting the Foot Clan all over the gaff. And then because there's a moment where like they're fighting in like the turtles' home. The Foot Clan arrive, and they're fighting there, and the turtles are like kind of taking the piss with them. They're basically just beating the crap out of all of them really easily. And then the turtles leave the sewers, and because I distinctly remember scenes of like the Foot Clan crawling through, scuttling through grates on the sidewalk like spiders, coming up out of the ground and stuff. And then I think they're winning, and then Shredder turns up, and the turtles climb up onto the roof and all charge at him, and he makes fools of them. Basically.
Yeah, because he's the master and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Casey at one stage goes to Splinter, says, "Oh, I think your boys can't match this," and he turns around and Splinter's gone, because Splinter has decided to fight the Shredder. Because I guess they said, look, we can't have the turtles killing someone on screen. That wouldn't be cool. And I think Splinter basically reminds Shredder that he knows who he is. And for some reason, the Shredder at no stage is completely terrified and confused that the little tiny rat that cut his face maybe 10 or so years ago now is 4.5 foot tall rat person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who can speak English with a Japanese accent. Not sure why the rat has a Japanese accent, to be honest.
Because he is Japanese.
Yeah, but he didn't learn how to speak Japanese.
But he listened to it. He was clearly quite clever prior to the goo.
Yeah,
because
he was
he
obviously a massive
Yeah.
evolution. Maybe it was the X-Men of rats.
because he knew martial
You
arts
know?
and stuff and was like
Yeah,
like competent and clever enough to like know names and like remember things and understand what was happening around him. So
yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, that's a fair point. Yeah. Splinter charges for him, and no, Splinter doesn't charge for him. The
Shredder.
Shredder charges for him, like, and Splinter like pulls out a nunchuck and twists it around the weapon he has, and like just kind of turns it, and then Splinter is holding Shredder over a building. You know, he would have fallen if basically Splinter would let go. But it's meant to be this whole like, there's worse things than death. There's losing your honor. But at some stage, Shredder takes out like a weapon from his side and is about to stab, you know, Splinter, and Splinter kind of lets go out of shock, and he falls into a garbage collection van. And
Yeah.
Owen,
then-
you go ahead.
and
I
then-
think you want to tell the story.
And then Casey Jones, the villain of the piece, just casually like slams the button on the side of the garbage truck that like compresses the rubbish and I guess crushes Shredder to death in a garbage truck.
Yeah, I think in the second movie, and again, I haven't watched the second movie, and as you can imagine, I probably remember that even less. They kind of take away the death. I think in the second movie they kind of retcon it, say he didn't die, but he kind of did. But you know, yeah, as far as we know, that was the last movie. Like the Shredder was definitely fucking dead. He was
I mean,
gone.
it's not
He was
like
crushed.
they don't actually show him getting crushed. They show the
Yeah.
compressor going down, and I think you can see like his helmet or something in it.
Yeah.
So it's never like 100%. Wow, Casey Jones just crushed a human being to death in a garbage truck. So it was.
But we hear
like,
screaming, muffled screaming, and then it stops.
That's true. I don't know. Isn't the Shredder
So-
magical?
Are you? I know you meant it in like he's supernatural. It just, you may have sounded a little more. Isn't he? Just
Isn't he
magical?
dreamy? Isn't the Shredder cute?
Yeah. And look, the movie just kind of ends. Casey kisses April O'Neil. They're a happy couple.
The turtles watch.
The watch, which is really weird because throughout the movie, the turtle, she's totally hot and we totally bang her. Like, not in those words, but pretty much that.
Yeah.
And now they're just like as surveyors of it. Like, yeah, turtles eat pizza with Splinter around a table, and they're all trying to find out cool ways to toast the occasion. And Splinter goes, "Oh, I always liked cowabunga," and they were, "Yeah!" And that's the end of the movie. Like, there's not much more to this movie. Let's be fair.
No, there's not.
Yeah. And I was we'll get to it with our last thoughts, but let's go on to our next section. So, Owen, you'll have to be specific because of this movie.
What's my Jesus moment?
What is your Jesus moment?
Oof. I think for me, honestly, it might be Raph's voice, because it's so weird. Like, I think a lot of this, maybe a lot of me. I think I confused my memories for the animated TV show with this movie, or mixed them up or something.
Yeah.
But I know I remember Raph's voice. I remember all their voices from the TV show. And then rewatching this, I think I just had assumed they sounded the same, like they got the same voice actors or something.
Yeah.
Raph sounds like an Italian mob boss half the time.
Yeah.
He's like
He does,
hey, New York, hey, Leo, what you, hey. He's like a little bit Joe Pesci sometimes, a little bit of Sylvester Stallone in there in places. It's real weird, and it doesn't fit him at all, to me.
No.
It sounds odd. So maybe that, I guess, is my Jesus moment, is Raphael being a mafia don.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about it, but I think it has to be the Casey Jones killing Shredder in the fan. It's just like there's a lot of people complaining about this movie back in the day for saying it's too violent. Like even Jim Henson, who designed the costumes and did the puppetry for this, he wasn't a big fan of this movie. he had no sort of emotional interest in it because very much about no violence, and they thought this movie was far too violent. And if it wasn't for that one garbage van thing, I would have agreed. But it very much sticks out as that was just murder. That was straight up like
Casey just killed him with no qualms about it whatsoever. It was just like, you're dead now, Shredder.
Do you think Casey had like a mental breakdown?
Oh, I mean, Casey's insane. I think that's fairly clear throughout this movie.
Yeah,
Casey's
something happened there. Like, that's not a man.
No.
Like, do you think, like, maybe the camera's too blurry so we don't see that there's loads of posters of wanted for some deranged lunatic?
Because
you
can excuse the Turtles' actions because they're Teenage Ninja Turtles created from mystic goo or whatever.
Yeah.
So we can't really hold them to the same standards as the rest of us.
Yeah.
But Casey's a criminally insane person for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much.
My baseball career went down the drain, so I'm going to hit people in the head with weapons.
Still weird he wears a hockey mask and his career was baseball.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they're trying to paint him as just a general sports fanatic in the beginning when he meets Raph, but fanatic is correct, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so really the big thing I would argue is that you could take Casey Jones out of this entire movie. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, you could take April out of this movie as well. You could probably take the Turtles out of it.
But you just take this movie out.
It's more Splinter's story than it is the Turtles, for the most part. Like,
yeah, and I like Splinter in this. I genuinely do. I always like Splinters in any iteration.
Yeah, I mean, you're a sucker for the wizened older mentor character in everything. So
yeah, of course, they matter and they care. That was our Jesus moment. I suppose we'll go to our final thoughts.
Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Okay, so our final thoughts. So we both watched this movie as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, you probably watched, like me, probably watched the second one.
No, third one.
Third one, was it?
Third one,
that's the one where they're actually like in.
They travel back in time.
Place.
They travel back in time to feudal Japan and fight the Shredder in ancient Japan.
Yeah.
Who looks way cooler in that movie, and the martial arts are better in that movie.
Is it the same Shredder?
I don't think so. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I vaguely remembered that like the Shredder is like a title or something.
Okay.
I think it's either that or it is the same Shredder, and the Shredder goes back in time to do something, so the Turtles follow him to stop him. Can't remember.
He forgot his keys or something, and he has to go back.
To beat the rat, I must go. I don't know.
Yeah. So I must travel back in time.
Yeah, I have to go back to before the rat was born in feudal Japan.
Yes. And then we just see a Splinter, a Splinter anyway. So I'm here.
He's still there.
No,
he's
that didn't happen, but we're joking.
But yes, I definitely.
But we saw the sequels. I saw the second one. I think more. I remember that subway station they had, like that was their lair in the second one. I think, and the third one as well. And like that was really cool to me. Whereas this was very cramped. I don't know. And yeah, so but we probably liked this as kids, didn't we?
I see. I definitely. I know I liked the Turtles.
Yeah,
I know. There's a picture of me somewhere dressed up as one of the Turtles. I think I was dressed as Donatello because he was my favorite.
I mean,
I had the
Mikey,
full costume.
based on your personality,
but I don't. Yeah, but I liked Donatello because nobody else liked Donatello.
Yeah.
So.
The geeky fella. They really went for that theme in this movie, didn't they?
No, they don't go for any teams in this movie. The Turtles are all the same person.
Yeah.
They don't have
except like, Raph. Raph is the only one who's a bit of a different personality.
Yeah, and even slightly, but like it's not. None of them have real. They're all just kind of the same. Like, especially like Donnie and Leo don't get any real character moments. They don't get to really do anything. Leo never really demonstrates he's the leader. Like, there's one when him and Raph fight. Raph says, "What are we gonna do now, Mr. Leader, man?" And that's kind of it. You're supposed to be our great leader. What are we gonna do, boy? There's technology doesn't exist, so Donatello doesn't do anything. And like Mikey tells more jokes slightly than the rest of them, but like it's never played as like, "Oh, Mikey, you're so stupid." And then Raph is kind of angry, but that's kind of it.
I mean, here's the question: did you like this movie this time around?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It was nice to go to like remember to visit it again after so many years and see something that I know for a fact if I was a kid and I watched this, I would still love it.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, it's not very good.
I was having this talk with someone, and we were saying like, if you're under 25, you more than likely don't get this movie. If you're over 25, there's a higher chance of you really enjoying it. But then that conversation kind of went on, and I was having a conversation with one, and we were saying that, like, could you imagine it's 1990, you're a dad, you have like a 6-year-old kid with you, and he wants to watch the Turtles in cinema. And you sit throughout this entire movie knowing nothing about turtles whatsoever. Well, I mean, you know about turtles, but you wouldn't know about
about
the cartoon.
These guys.
Yeah. Never heard of turtles all that.
He thinks
so-called aliens?
Yeah, sees this movie and thinks this is what turtles are in general.
Yeah.
Wow.
This blows my mind.
These exist?
What?
This is what turtles are? Man, I gotta go to the fucking zoo more often.
Imagine the disappointment. You go to the zoo and you just look in and going, ah.
Yeah, when are they gonna do some fucking taekwondo? Come on. Do something, turtle.
But yeah, I mean, for myself, I'm probably in the same boat. I think when we finished watching it, I was a little bit more happy about watching that movie than you were. But like on the last few days, I don't care.
It's not. I wasn't unhappy with it. I don't hate this movie now. Like I can still have an affection for it somewhere, but it's not very good.
Here's the thing: if anyone told you, "Hey, let's watch the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie," no thanks. We'll watch something else.
I think if you're with a group of friends
who are inebriated,
who all maybe had seen this when they were younger, it's fun to sit there and watch back. I don't think you have to be drunk to.
I think it's a big positive, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
But yeah. Yeah, it's a movie that's worth rewatch for nostalgia. I have a feeling any kid nowadays might not enjoy it as much, just because it's been spoiled with different effects and different iterations of the turtles. Like, turtles have more character. I think they'd probably look at these characters as two-dimensional if a kid thought about movies this way.
They'd be right. But
yeah. Oh yes, this movie, well quaint and somewhat enjoyable.
I mean, that's what we thought when we watched the Turtles as kids, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Personally, that's what I thought. Characters are weak, two-dimensional cutouts of real attempts at human vigor and understanding, and I don't care for it, mother.
Though the underlying theme of father and son is quite heartwarming, it really doesn't make up for the quintessential essence of this movie, which is just a cash grab for toys. Yes, that's what kids think. But yeah, there was the height of turtle fever. We even got a turtle rap at the end of that movie, but it has shown its age, to say the least, I think.
Yeah, I think so. In most ways, it's nice still to see practical effects and stuff like that, even if they do look hideous. But
you really don't like Muppets.
They're just uncomfortable. They're just not good. I don't know. I will say this: that they don't look as bad as the Turtles in the 2014 Michael Bay produced one.
Why don't you like lips? Turtle lips?
No.
I don't like that.
No, I don't. I don't like anything about it.
I know someone who once, before I watched the movie, and I don't think I still haven't watched the movie, but about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and they went, "Oh man, you'd really like that movie." And I think it was the first time I was truly insulted for things I'm interested in. Like, why would you think I'd be interested in that? What makes you think, like, based on the trailers, that I'd like this movie? Yeah, that was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I don't see us watching the sequels anytime soon for this channel. But look, please tell us why we're morons and are wrong to have these opinions. Because I know that fans that love this movie,
Yeah,
Like count as classic. Like, give it to us.
I think it could be
really
fun
like to know why.
if we did a series watching every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles iteration.
Like the cartoons as well.
What all the movies,
All the movies. Yeah.
the two sequels, 2 live action sequels to this, plus the animated sequel to it. Then the 2 Michael Bay ones, and then like Turtles versus
There's
Batman.
2 Michael Bay ones.
There's 2. There's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows or something. I think was the second one.
Oh wow, I was not aware of this.
And then there's we can watch Turtles versus Batman or something.
Yeah. Hey, we could watch the live action TV show where Venus was in it.
Who?
Oh, the 5th turtle, Lady Turtle.
Oh,
Boob Turtle.
Thanks for bringing that back to my memory.
Yeah, so we, folks, if you want us, give us some turtle stuff that you think is well worth watching and might be a good review, and throw in the comments, or throw in some turtle stuff which is even worse than this movie that you definitely want us to watch, and just be completely disassociate with reality with. We'd love to hear it. But yeah, this is the end of the podcast. Owen, what are we watching next?
I thought it would be fun to combine elements of 2 of our recent movies, plus a nostalgia-driven thing that has had a recent revival. We're going to watch The Karate Kid.
Oh, okay, all right. I've been enjoying Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
We're
going to go back and watch the first Karate Kid.
Why not? That'd be fun. So. That's it from me, folks. As always, we love if you like our posts, but even more so than anything, comment, get involved in the conversation. It's what we live for. We promise we won't talk shit about all the movies you like.
I will.
Yeah, Owen will. You hear that, Ricky? You hear that? Yeah, he's the bad guy, not me. But yeah, that's it from me, Daniel, and this is it from Owen.
See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Asherlock.